Okay, welcome to another edition of The Right Call. It's been a while. Cole, great to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Your humble hosts. What's a host?
I'm not sure what a host is.
I don't know what a host is.
Yeah, it confuses me.
Humble hosts, Cole Altman and Mark Altman. And you may notice tonight, I'm wearing a special shirt in tribute to Keenan Allen. And ironically, I just realized Cole's wearing a special shirt to Zeke Elliott. Cole, do you know what those two guys have in common right now?
They're always hurt.
They're hurt, right. But more importantly, I just want to put it out there, for those of our listeners who are in fantasy football, I just want to make this one point. The reason why Keenan Allen is continuously hurt is because he's been hanging around Mike Williams too much. And so Mike Williams is always hurt every year, and now Keenan Allen has caught the virus.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's been a contagious virus.
And he's been a huge disappointment for my fantasy team as a result.
You know, I apologize to all Keenan Allen owners. I mean, if he's healthy, he's a beast, but you haven't really seen that this year.
All right, Cole. So we got to start out with the big story in the news, Kyrie Irving. And listen, I want to approach this a little differently than everybody's approaching this. I want to talk about the obligation a professional athlete has to his team. Because, see, the real story here is that we do have freedom of speech in this country. And the reality is, but when you work for somebody, you work under their rules. Like, that's how it goes. So besides being a bigot and an anti-Semite and one of the most annoying players since Alex Rodriguez, what is the message Kyrie's not getting here?
Well, I want to take it from a different aspect, and why do we care so much? Like, why do we need to... I understand his comments were outrageous, as well as Kanye West's comments. They kind of coincide as they work together. But
I'm really surprised to hear you say this. Someone who has his own company, East Coast Kicks, we care because he's damaging. Well, why do the Nets care? Why does the NBA care? Because he's damaging their brand.
No. I understand why they care. I don't understand why the fans care so much.
Because he's a bigot. And we don't, there's plenty of people in this country that are okay with those kinds of points of view. But that's why we care. We don't like that.
I 100% agree that he stepped over the line and he's a racist and he is an anti-Semite.
But that's why we care.
But I don't see the point of fixating over a problem that...
Who's fixating over it?
Everyone's fixating over it. People are spending their time talking about it, making issues about it. And it isn't...
But it's a major issue. It's bigotry and racism. That's such a hot issue in this country.
Although there are events that are going on all around the country, big problems around the country surrounding this, and we only care now because it's coming from a popular NBA player. So somehow...
I don't think so. I think that you're missing the point. I think that Kyrie Irving is a superstar talent. He has spent the last 4 years sat out with COVID, sat out in the bubble. This has been a long pattern of him causing problems, lying to the Celtics. I mean, there's a pattern of behavior, and this is like the final straw. So I think it's not just because of this. I think it's the long-standing pattern of Kyrie Irving. It's the soap opera drama that is the Brooklyn Nets, even with Kevin Durant. So I think it's a lot of things, ready for this, coming to a confluence.
My God, with the
Let's talk about that word.
I just want to mention that fine. I'm willing to let the bigotry and anti-Semitism is fine. Well, it's not fine, but it's whatever. I want to go back to the part where you spoke about how he lied to the Celtics. I don't blame him one bit for that. I think it may have been a crappy.
What?
I may have been a crappy thing to do. Players do that all the time.
So that makes it right?
It doesn't make it right, but it's not fair to single him out versus all the other players.
He stood in front of the Celtics fan base and said, I'm coming back, when he had no intention of coming back.
We've seen that tens and tens of times. Give me a break.
We've seen it a lot, but it's still a lie. It doesn't change the fact that it's a lie. So we're going to enable people who lie just because they lie a lot?
We're not, but why are we talking about him more than the others?
I don't know if you just heard the previous minute of the podcast. It's because it's a series, it's Lemony Snicket's, a series of unfortunate events. It's a lot of pattern of Kyrie. If it was just the lie and nothing else happened, I would agree with you. Like, why are we making a big deal? Everybody does that. But we're not. It's a pattern of behavior of, could be a mental health issue. I have no idea. Could just be, annoying person. I don't know, but it's everything. It's that's what's causing the buzz. It's the final straw of a series of things.
I would 100% agree. His behavior over the past 4 years has created a pattern of outrageous behavior. I just don't think it's fair to compare the two because they don't really correspond at all.
What doesn't correspond?
The lying to the fan base and the anti-Semitism. How is it fair to Kyrie Irving?
It's the aloof, you're missing the point. It's the aloof, unpredictable behavior. First he lies to the fan base. Then he goes off on an 8-game birthday hiatus because he wants to take the time off. Not a good teammate, not trustworthy, again. Then he won't get vaccinated, which is choice. But again, he loses half the season because he makes that choice and his teammates suffer and the fans suffer. And now we have the anti-Semitic language. And this is a guy who is so much of a racist and a bigot, he couldn't even apologize. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to surprise everybody here. I'm going to give him credit. Because how many times do we see an apology from a player that's written by a publicist, that's written by an agent that is so phony and not authentic? So you know what, Kyrie? I give you credit for sticking to your guns. Be authentic. You're a bigot. You're a racist. Don't pretend you're not. And he didn't pretend he's not. That's why he stuck to his guns.
I don't know what do you know the official statement of what he said when why people are accusing him as an anti-Semitic?
Well, it was the film that he supported. It was the film, I forget the name of the film, but it was the film that he supported, and he stood in front of the media twice, and media members in New York, New Jersey area asked him several times. They said, do you regret making that comment? Do you regret making the comment? He said no. He didn't say no. He avoided the question. I rephrase that. He did not say no. He avoided the question. And all I'm saying is where this all started before we move on to a different topic is, look, the reality is in corporate America, in sports, when you work for an organization, you've got to toe the line. That's your job, especially when a brand is at stake. And you know what? For me, in my business, I've said this to so many people, I'll never talk about religion and politics, ever, because there's too much at stake, reputation, brand. And you know what? I have enough emotional control that I won't do it. And Kyrie, again, I give him credit for being authentic, but man, the Brooklyn Nets can't get out from under him quick enough.
No, I agree, and it's a bummer because he's such a great talent. And, you've seen great talents be wasted all over the world because of bad behavior, and it's just another sad example.
Now, Cole, let's really quickly. I know people are going to be like, "Why are we talking about baseball?" But we do. There's a couple of stories we need to talk about in baseball because Cole and I have not done a podcast since the Yankees got broomed out of the playoffs. So we do need to acknowledge that.
Of course we did. It's a very big acknowledgement for us.
And I have to tell you, the best part, Cole, was not only that the Yankees got broomed out of the playoffs, but the best part was Yankee fans are so distraught that they're clinging to the American League East titles, that they've outdone the Red Sox in the 21st century, and they've been so inept in the playoffs in the 21st century that the tables have turned. I mean, the Red Sox are the Yankees' daddy in the 21st century. I mean, 4 World Series to 1. We're their daddy.
We're not.
What?
We're not their daddy.
Are you okay?
The Yankees...
Go to bed.
Go to bed. The Yankees have a better overall record than the Red Sox in the 21st century.
Are you a Yankees fan?
I'm not a Yankees fan. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
There's one thing in Boston. There's a reason why we're called the City of Champions. We're defined by championships. And the Yankee fans wouldn't even agree with you. Yankee fans will tell you that the Red Sox are their daddy because the true Yankee fans they're the winningest franchise in baseball history. They are defined by championships. They don't care about win-loss records. They don't care about AL East titles. A true Yankees fan is sitting here going, you're right, we've been terrible in the 21st century.
I think that the Red Sox have 100% been better than the Yankees in the 21st century.
No, just in titles.
In titles.
Yeah.
In titles. But to call them their daddy?
4-1.
Ugh.
4-1. The Yankees have 1 title in the 21st century. It's embarrassing with that payroll. And let's say one other thing leading into the World Series, because this is really why I brought up baseball tonight. Every time I see a Kyle Schwarber highlight in this playoff run, I want to vomit because Kyle Schwarber was such an integral player in that playoff run and when the Red Sox acquired him last year. And we knew in the offseason, everybody was praying JD overrated Martinez was going to opt out of that final year of his contract because the Red Sox were going to re-sign Schwarber if JD Martinez opt out. And the second I heard the news come across that JD Martinez, who's hitting about 040 after the last All-Star break the last 2 years, he resigned, that cost us one of the most exciting players, electrifying power hitter. Every time that guy came, remember every time he came up to bat, you thought something was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's a true bummer. And before we continue, I'd like to throw the flag. Your volume is louder than my volume. I think
that's because I make better points.
Excuse me.
I mean, that's it. Like you should be grateful for that.
Grateful.
So we can dull out some of your comments from earlier.
I see your point.
I mean, so anyway, and then as far as the World Series go, 3-2 Houston. And Philly had Houston on the ropes with that 7-0 win to go up 2-1, but the Astros have really kind of had their number since. Who's going to win, Cole? 2 games left, potentially.
I mean, the Astros are clearly the better team. I mean, the Astros have it earmarked for them this year.
Did you just use the word earmarked?
Earmarked.
I love that you used that word.
Earmarked is the word I used, Mark. It sure is.
You used my name in a word.
I sure did. Earmarked.
Is there any words with coal in it, like earmarked with uses mark? Like charcoal.
Charcoal.
Anything else?
Colon.
Well, that's not the same spelling like earmarked is.
It's not.
Do you ever notice the
Kenneth
name?
Cole?
Wait. Did you ever notice? Well, that's a brand. But did you ever notice how great the name Mark is? X marks the spot on the mark. Marking your territory!
Exclamation mark!
Right? Like how many references for my name?
You ask a lot of questions. Question mark.
Question mark. Wow. Okay, we've veered.
We have.
So Cole, I do want to talk about something you heard me complain about earlier in the week, and I am so sick and tired. One more baseball piece here. I am so sick and tired of athletes who have grossly underachieved for an extended period of time, a.k.a. Bryce Harper. And then all of a sudden, Bryce Harper has a big playoff run in a big year, and he's proving the doubters wrong, and he's showing everybody because we didn't believe in him. Bryce, we didn't believe in you because you were stealing money from the Nationals by so grossly underachieving. And then you finally live up to your contract for one season, and now you want to tell us you're showing us and showing the fans? Let me get this straight, Cole. Once and for all, if you're an athlete that's grossly underachieved for an extended period of time, and we gave up on you, it's because you sucked for an extended period of time. And just because you show up for a month or 2 months or 3 months doesn't mean like you showed them. How about, hey, you finally earned your money?
I have mixed feelings on this because Bryce Harper was very good in Washington. He was a beast in Washington. He had a rough first year in Philly. I'm going to ignore your smiling.
Can I mute you?
He was.
I love being at the control. I don't know. I got to see if I can mute you.
He was tremendous.
Okay, go ahead.
In Washington, had a bad first year in Philly. Now he's turning it on. He was not a wasted contract.
Did you just say he was tremendous in Washington?
He was tremendous in Washington. You want to go over his stats right now? Let's do it. He was a beast. Bryce Harper was absolutely lethal.
Is this revisionist history?
He's been hurt multiple times, and that's interrupted his seasons. But you can't blame him for that. Like he's been tremendous.
You know the analogy I made the other day about this with Andrew Dalton. So Andy Dalton. The Saints beat the Raiders last week 24-0. It would be like Andy Dalton going, see, you doubted me all this time, and look at how great I'm doing on the Saints. We didn't doubt you. We just recognized you suck.
Well, that's like when Geno Smith.
No, Geno Smith now.
No,
Geno Smith. No, see, that's different.
He sucks.
No, that's different because Geno Smith really, after he wore out his welcome with the Jets and underachieved, he really never got another chance. That's different. And now he's finally under Pistol Pete Carroll, and he has been really good.
He's been okay. He was great the first 5 games of the season. People need to realize he's tapering off a bit. They haven't been great. They haven't been great.
I think you're being contrary on purpose.
Contrary? No, I'm just ignoring a lot of you. I'm just not agreeing with a lot of your points tonight. I gotta admit.
Well, I like that. Good shows when you don't agree. That's good. Cole, let's switch to football. Talk about a couple of stories in football. First,
my strong suit.
First, I want to talk about the Eagles. So, the Eagles improved to 8-0. Cole, I looked at their schedule.
It's tremendously easy.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Like, they can run the table. The only game that I saw on the Eagles' schedule
Cowboys
is that game, that second to last game against the Cowboys in Dallas. Honestly, besides that game, I struggle to see them losing a game.
They play the Giants twice, though. Like, can they beat the Giants?
The Giants are playing over their head.
Not really. Daniel Jones has been tremendous. Saquon Barkley's been leading them. Their defense has been automatic.
That's fair. When the Eagles play in New York, yes, that is a potential game they could lose. But I got to tell you, I think the Eagles could legit run the table. And the only thing I will say, though, is when I look at the Eagles, they're obviously really, really good. But I don't think they're as good as the Chiefs or the Bills.
They're not. I 100% agree. I was talking about this with one of my friends in school today. They are definitely not as good as either of those teams.
Are you cheating on me with the other kids talking about right call topics?
You know what?
What is going on here?
You know what? I'm sorry.
I mean, you need to save your sports takes for the right call.
I'm sorry, but I mean, Jalen Hurts is a little overrated.
He's been great, though.
Miles Sanders.
So are the Eagles going to run the table?
They are.
They're going to go 17-0.
They're going to go 17-0.
Wow.
This is the reason I'm saying this. The Eagles' defense, the pass defense, is unreal. The Eagles' pass.
Wait, who's the other pass defense?
Yeah. Their running game is pretty dominant now. I mean, they've found a running back in Miles Sanders who's finally turned it on a little bit. Jalen Hurts, he's been playing well. His rushing numbers have been down the last few weeks. I'm not really impressed with him. He's been under 100 for 5 straight games now. And
all right, let's take away from the fantasy stats here.
I gotta admit, I'm not 100 yards rushing.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on Jalen Hurts as a real life quarterback. So I don't think it's Jalen Hurts that's leading them. I think it's their defense, and I think it's their receivers: Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and the running game.
I disagree. I think you're under. I don't know where I'm willing to put Jalen Hurts, but I think you're underappreciating what he's done so far, and I think he's made a huge leap over where he was last year. And yes, he has incredibly talented receivers. There's no question about it.
Like he has some of the best weapons in the league.
He does. I agree. Now, let's talk about the Patriots. But before we talk about the Patriots, this is the thing I want to talk about. The big discussion last year was, wow, did the Patriots sneak Mac Jones in the draft class in the 15th round? People are like, wow, they didn't take Trey Lance, and they didn't take Justin Fields, and they didn't take Zach Wilson, and look at Bill Belichick outsmarting everyone again. Well, all of a sudden, the 4 of them suck. Trey Lance didn't stay healthy, so we still have no idea what's going to happen with him.
Excuse me.
What?
Justin Fields does not suck.
Justin Fields has been atrocious. It's his legs. What are you talking about? Justin Fields throws terrible interceptions virtually every game.
He's been great
fantasy-wise.
No. He's been great in the air the last few weeks.
The last 2 weeks.
The best 4 weeks. The best month. He's been tremendous. We're going to go over these stats after this podcast. He's been awesome.
No, because we don't need to go over stats because there's this thing called the eye test.
No!
That you watch. He's still throwing dumb picks. He threw a terrible pick against the Patriots. It's just that the Patriots were so inept on that Monday Night Football game, they couldn't come back and win. So listen, you've got Trey Lance, who the hell knows, Justin Fields playing better recently, showing some hope, but terrible up until this point. Zach Wilson, horrific, seeing ghosts last Sunday like his buddy Sam Darnold. Mac Jones, terrible. The Patriots won that game in spite of Mac Jones. The nerve of the Patriots team to come out after that game to say we saw Mac Jones making strides in that game. That pick Mac Jones threw in that game that should have been a pick 6 that got called back for that roughing the passer call, that was one of the most egregious passes of the year. makes dumb pass after dumb pass. I have defended Mac Jones for a while. I don't want to talk about Bailey Zappi. This isn't a Bailey Zappi Mac Jones issue. Mac Jones is just not very good. And even if Mac Jones gets better, what's his ceiling? The guy has virtually no mobility. And I used to give him the benefit of the doubt because the Patriots' weapons are crap. But sucks.
I think you're being unfair.
Okay.
I think you're being unfair.
Based on what?
I think you're being unfair. Zach Wilson sucks. Trey Lance, we don't know. Justin Fields has been absolutely tremendous. He absolutely tore apart a great New England defense.
For the last 2 weeks, he's been great.
No, okay, that was 3 weeks ago. That was what? Yes.
No.
2 weeks ago, he tore apart a masterous San Francisco defense.
That was on the opening week of the season. What are you talking about? The Bears played the 49ers on week 1.
Okay, then I'm thinking of
oh my God, I got to put you on mute.
No,
Hold on a second.
they played another great defense.
Where's
It was
Hold
Buffalo.
on. Go ahead.
So they tore. It was either Buffalo or someone. He tore apart another good defense after New England, and I truly think you're being.
They lost to the Washington Commanders.
Okay,
2 weeks ago.
They did.
So
but that's because of our defense. They put up a ton of points in that game.
Listen, Justin Fields has played really well 2 of the last 3 weeks.
No, he's been great the past month.
They lost to the Washington Commanders.
Dad, they put up a ton of points.
They didn't put up. That was a low-scoring game. That was a Thursday night football game. It was embarrassing.
They put up 17.
Oh, wow, that's a ton of points in the NFL. 17?
Oh, yeah, and David Montgomery really put on a show there. He has to do it all himself.
Oh, good
He's
Lord.
to do it all himself.
Khalil Herbert's been scoring touchdowns every week.
Khalil Herbert blows.
All right, anyway,
No.
we're not wasting time on Justin Fields.
Okay,
we're going to lose viewers.
Now we're going to Mac Jones.
Please.
Mac Jones is a great QB. I think he's still growing. He needs another year, and he needs some weapons, for God's sakes.
Did you just say Mac Jones is a great QB?
I did. Look at Jared Goff, Dad. Look at Jared Goff. He has so many great weapons, and he's still pretty bad. Mac Jones with those weapons would be off the charts.
We just talked.
You're being unfair.
We just talked last week about you not getting enough sleep and getting an earlier bedtime. I'm really concerned. It's Friday evening, and you're losing it a little bit here.
I
mean, if you want to defend Mac Jones and say he doesn't have great weapons and he has upside, I can live with that. He's great.
He has tons of. Okay. I know.
Great.
Okay, that pick he threw slipped out of his hand. Whatever.
Oh my God.
Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen have thrown those picks before. Do your film research.
Oh my God. All right. 2 last stories here for tonight. Number 1, I want to talk about the Celtics a little bit here before we wrap tonight. Cole, we saw the Cavs play the Celtics twice to start this season. You and I are both in agreement that the Cavs are a really good basketball team. Donovan Mitchell has made a big difference. The thing for me about the Celtics, and this is all I want to talk about, is, Jason Tatum looks like a much more determined, committed player on the defensive end, playing with some emotion, good emotion, not arguing with the ref emotion. And my only gripe with the Celtics, we talked about it earlier, can the coach, the damn new coach of the Celtics, I'm not even going to say his name because I'm so annoyed right now, stand up to Marcus Smart, start Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon is a superior player to Marcus Smart. I thank Marcus Smart for his wonderful contributions to the Celtics. I'm glad he's a Celtic. I want him to be a Celtic. And when it's crunch time and big plays and big decisions need to be made, I want the floor general, Malcolm Brogdon, on the floor. I do not want Marcus Smart on the floor in crunch time.
On offense, sure. On defense, that is the most.
Brogdon's a really solid defensive player. He's not as good as Marcus Smart.
Is he a defensive player of the year? No. That is preposterous. Marcus Smart, an absolute beast on defense. You need him on the floor.
And he offsets it with dumb threes and dumb passes and turning the ball over.
Okay. His defense outweighs all of that tenfold. His defense, ridiculous.
No, Marcus Smart's a great defensive player. We're talking about decisions that need to be made. We saw this, Cole, against Golden State in the championship. They struggled to move the ball on offense. They were so stagnant during the championship when Marcus Smart was the floor general. The whole reason they got Malcolm Brogdon, among other things, is because Malcolm Brogdon makes good decisions. He's much more of a floor general. Marcus Smart is not a pass-first point guard. Marcus Smart likes to shoot. He's never been a big assist total guy. Malcolm Brogdon is a guy that can distribute the ball more effectively. And I'm just saying that I don't dispute what you're saying about Marcus Smart's defensive ability, but I'm just saying when you need big baskets at the end of the game, I want to see Malcolm Brogdon on the floor.
Big buckets, sure. But you can put both of them on the floor at the same time, frankly. Like, you can put Brogdon at point. You can put Smart at shooting guard. You can put Brown at small forward. You can put Tatum at power. You can put Bob or Horford, whoever's healthy. I mean, you can put both of them on the floor. I'd rather have Smart on the floor personally, unless you need like a big shot or a three or whatever. I think Marcus Smart's shooting is underrated. I think he's a solid offensive player. And I think Brogdon's a stud as well.
All right. Before we get to our final comment, I know we don't have a lot of big fans of hockey, but I do want to just acknowledge one thing. Boston Bruins have the best record in hockey right now. Best start in franchise history, 10-1. And they have a new coach, Jim Montgomery. And this coach has got all four lines contributing. They're playing physical, they're playing smart, they're playing tough. And what's crazy is they just got Brad Marchand back. They didn't have Charlie McAvoy. And they've had David Krejci injured. They just lost Derek Forbort. So this is a team that's really overachieving so far. And here's the crazy part, Cole. I bet you didn't know this. The former Bruins coach, Bruce Cassidy, is now in Las Vegas. I know you knew that. But Bruce Cassidy's in Las Vegas. Do you know who has the second best record in hockey? The Las Vegas Golden Knights, 10-2.
Wow.
So how ironic that Bruce Cassidy leaves the Bruins and he's leading, and Jack Eichel's playing out of his mind under Bruce Cassidy. So just kind of a cool start to the season that Bruce Cassidy and the Bruins are both leading the NHL in points. So, Cole, this is something you and I have never talked about. This is a surprise story, seriously. So there was a big announcement today, and it was a momentous day in sports, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why. The Bruins signed a player named Mitchell Miller today. And why that's significant is Mitchell Miller was originally drafted by the Coyotes, and then he was released. And then he was kind of blackballed from the league. And this is why, okay? He bullied one of his classmates in high school, and it was a big incident, okay? So the Bruins are taking a chance on him, and the Bruins are kind of giving him a second chance, but teams were kind of staying away due to his past reputation. Here's why.
He's a high school event.
Yes.
Wow. That's
right.
That's a little.
So here's the point of the story. The point of the story is the Bruins made a signing and proactively, before the guy even suited up for the Bruins, announced a public apology. And I want to read this apology from Mitchell Miller today, okay? So it said, when I was in 8th grade, I made an extremely poor decision. I bullied one of my classmates. I deeply regret the incident, blah, 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 blah. As a member of the Bruins organization, I will continue to participate in community programs. To be clear, what I did when I was 14 years old was wrong and unacceptable. There's no place in the world, blah, 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 blah. And I thought to myself, when is the last time you have seen a team sign a player and before a story even gets exposed, reactive waiting something, they call it out? Like, hey, we're signing this guy. We're going to have that player make a public apology before he even suits up in our uniform. That was pretty unique to me.
I think that's tremendous on the Bruins' part. I think that's tremendous on Mitchell Miller's part. I think it's pathetic on the rest of the league. I think that blackballing a guy from the league because he made a mistake in 8th grade, are you kidding me?
Our reputation, stay with us. How many times have we talked about that? You're in high school. We talk about that all the time.
If it's like junior, senior year, okay, when you're about to go into college, fine. 8th grade, that is a joke that the league is still paying attention. That is a joke.
So I'll just make one last point about this. So I understand your perspective, and I think the problem is that when there's smoke, there's fire, and that's the way reputations go. When you have something on your record, a negative, bad thing on your record, once you've done something once, there's a thought process out there. If you were a bully, if that's how you treated people at 14, then it could happen again. I could see how people see that as unfair, but that's how our world is. Stereotypes, perceptions, precedents, past reputations. And I wasn't saying it to give the Bruins credit. I mean, the Bruins put a PR spin on it to protect from fan backlash, but I just meant that it's rare that teams get out in front of that stuff before the backlash takes place.
Yeah, 100% agree.
All right, Cole, right call, last call. What's going to happen, Patriots-Colts this Sunday?
The game is in New England, correct?
It is.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor ruled out, so you got Sam Ellinger. You know Bill Belichick loves playing against those young quarterbacks. I'm saying Pats by 10.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the young quarterback, inexperienced Sam Ellinger. The Colts are just a mess. They've got so many problems right now. Nothing seems to be working on either side of the ball. They just lost to the Commanders. Yeah, I have trouble seeing the Pats lose this game. And, you know, the Pats really have a chance to come out of their bye, and then they play the Jets again at home. So the Pats could be staring at 6-4. The problem is the Pats are 6-4. You think, well, maybe they could make the playoffs, but they still got to play Buffalo twice.
Yeah.
They still got to play Miami again. Hard time seeing them beat Miami. So even if they're 6-4, it just still feels like it's not going to happen.
It does.
All right, well, that's it for the right call. For Cole Altman, I promise our viewers I'll get Cole more sleep so he makes some more coherent points. I'm Mark Altman. We'll see you next time.